Hey everyone, welcome back to Cody Tarot. I'm your tarot reader, Cody. So today's pick a card is going to be one that I don't think I have done before or phrased it in quite this way, but today is going to be what is the gossip about you? So we're going to be looking into what people are actually saying about you behind your back. What are they maybe too shy to tell you in person, or what people are basically just assuming about you behind your back, basically. So this is kind of an interesting reading, but it offers a little bit of transparency, so that should be good. Yeah, we have 5 groups in front of us today. I wanted to get a lot of options, and I wanted to make the readings a little bit quicker, a little more fast-paced today, so we can get right to the point and kind of see what is being said about you and just get right to the point, basically. So our groups, we have 5 groups in front of us. Our first group is Pyrite. Our second group is Spirit Quartz. Our third group is Desert Glass. Our fourth group is Clear Quartz. And our last group is Elestial Smokey Quartz. So take all the time you need to pick your crystal. You can pause the video here if you need to. I'm really excited to get into this reading because I think it's just going to give a great perspective on other people's opinions about us. And who doesn't want to hear that? All right, so without further ado, let's get into the reading, starting with group number 1 with the Pyrite. Hey, group 1, this is if you picked the Pyrite right here. Very shiny, metallic-y stone. Anyway, so let's get into what people say about you. I'm going to be shuffling cards on camera today. So first I'm going to draw a Oracle of the 7 Energies card. I haven't used this deck in a while, and I just felt drawn to use it for this reading. So we're going to pull that card. We're not going to be pulling too many cards in this reading. Just because we're going to get some kind of more quick messages in this group. Let's see. Pull this card. We have Close Encounters. Then I want to get some tarot cards. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is put all the oracle cards up here, and then I'll do the tarot cards below. So I'm going to draw a animal oracle card for you guys. We have Cheetah. And I'm going to draw a love story oracle card for you guys. I'm kind of reading the cards freeform today, so just whatever messages come through from any of the cards is what is going to be what people are saying about you. We have Passion. Wow. Yeah. Okay, so let's get some tarot cards on the table. I think what I'm going to do is take 5 of them. We'll see what comes through, but I think we're going to take 5. Hope you guys are having a good day, doing well. Okay. Just all the cards coming straight out. Maybe you guys are kind of like straight shooters. I guess we have enough space to do. Okay, let's flip over your tarot cards and see what you've got. We have the King of Swords upright, the Queen of Swords upright, the Eight of Cups upright, the Three of Cups upright, and the Knight of Swords upright. Solid amount of court cards. Okay, I'm gonna get into what I'm seeing here. I looked over the reading just a little bit, but I kind of want to get into just spitballing a little bit as well. So let's get into the reading. So, where do I start? So let's start with your Animal Oracle card, Cheetah. The first thing people talk about your personality in general is just like, this person's very fast-paced, very action-oriented. You might have a few people tell their friends, like, after they've met you, kind of like, oh my gosh, weren't they a lot of energy? You know, or weren't they a lot to handle, kind of thing. Like, people are kind of looking at their friends like, whoa, they're either, they'll say something like, for some of you, it's like, they'll say like, oh, they're a fast talker. If you guys talk a lot, they'll be like, oh, they're a fast talker. Or they'll say like, whoa, they have a lot of energy. Like, that person is bouncing off the walls. Like, that, you know, that's, you know, not good for me or whatever. Like, you know, I feel like people are often, you know, making a comment about it, but not like discussing it too deeply. It's just kind of one of those things where they kind of notice it. I think some people kind of who notice it don't want to get close, but it's like, these are like, how do I put it? Maybe more like strangers that don't know you well enough, that kind of are just seeing you superficially. They're just like kind of thrown by your energy or how quick you move or something like that. We have a few indicators with the 10, I think this is the sacral chakra, which is indicating sexuality here. And we have the cheetah, which is a fire sign, which is also passion. And we have the passionate card right here. We have this guy kind of, you know, making out with this girl, kind of groping this girl's butt over here. Anyway, so the one thing that people gossip about you, and this is something that's coming through, is they think you would be a great lover. Like, people kind of say this behind your back. I don't know if maybe they say it to your face too, but they definitely say it behind your back to other people. Like, oh my gosh, wouldn't they be like a fun lay? Or wouldn't they be like someone who's really like fun to like get intimate with? You know, like, I'd really like to hook up with them. Like, they're so hot. So there's something about like people really like thinking you're the bee's knees, I guess, when it comes to romance and passion. It's interesting. I feel like a lot of people with this close encounters card, and the cage kind of protecting the one butterfly from the other butterfly, they feel like they get so close to going on a date with you, or they feel like they get so close to making contact with you, but then you just kind of slip away. There's kind of this vibe here with the Eight of Cups of like slipping away or being non-committal. And so one thing that they might say about you is like, especially people who've tried to get at you in the past, or have tried to kind of either like hook up with you or try to ask you out on a date or something, and you kind of slip by them. I'm thinking the butterfly too is like kind of hard to catch, like kind of ephemeral, floating around. I feel like the thing is with these people, if they get like upset about the fact that you turned them down or something, they might tell their friends like, oh yeah, they're just flaky anyway. Like, they could never commit, or they could never get really serious in a serious relationship. They're kind of just all over the place. Like, or especially people who maybe you have hooked up with in the past, but maybe you saw them as someone who wasn't that serious to like connect with on a deeper relationship level. And so maybe you left them in the dust. They kind of throw it back on you when they talk to their friends, and they're like, you know, they're non-committal. They don't really have what it takes to be in a relationship. They're kind of, you know, they're walking away from their emotional commitments. I see that here, that they talk about you in the sense that you walk away from your emotional commitments, that you're, in a sense, it could lead to them saying you're irresponsible. The other thing, though, I definitely see, this is a card of protection, this Three of Cups card, especially in a reading like this. I feel like you guys have a lot of friends where if someone talks about you behind your back, they stand up for you, and they kind of get in someone's face and like, no, they're like this, or they're a good friend, or like, you have no idea what you're talking about. So I definitely see you have a huge loyalty. So a lot of the gossip behind your back is like this, like kind of like, you have this kind of like, fan club, I guess you could say, that like supports you through, you know, the tough times when people are saying mean things behind your back. They're like, oh no, some people will say it like in a kind way, like a kind of like, oh no, they're actually like this, or you probably misread them. They're like this, you know, they're kind of this person. Or some of these people can get really, with the Knight of Swords here right next to the Three of Cups, really defensive and really come to your bat and defend you. So another thing that people are saying about you behind your back, people get really aggressive in protecting you, basically. They're really assertive and kind of like, how do I put this? they stand up for you. There's a lot of people that stand up for you when people talk about you behind your back. And that's something that I'm seeing really strongly. It's funny because a lot of these people that stand up for you are probably people that think you would be good in bed and probably kind of love you from afar, but they're also kind of like in your circle of friends, or they're in your kind of they're in your realm of friend group. They're probably not friends where you're like for sure knowing it's just a friendship, but for a lot of like more acquaintances and stuff like that, I can see a lot of people finding you really, really attractive, saying things behind your back like, oh my God, they're so hot. Like, I wish I could have a chance with them. You know, that's kind of like one of the things I'm seeing here. With the Queen of Cups and the King of Swords, there's a few things. With the Queen of Cups, some people could say you're nurturing or caring. That's something that's coming through. But one thing that I'm seeing, especially with the Swords cards here, and we also have the Queen of Cups, and the Queen of Cups to me is the most intellectual Queen of Cups. She's kind of like the one whose intuition borders on intelligence and intellect and stuff like that, and just kind of like logical formulations. I feel like it takes a lot of analysis to figure out this cup in this picture where she's with this cup. So I feel like a lot of people might consider you analytical or someone who's really good at solving problems. So something they say behind your back is like, you know, I had this issue the other day and so thought of this great advice for me. Like they just said this advice off the cuff of their sleeve or whatever. And it was just this really good advice. I mean, I'm surprised they said that. I mean, they don't seem like the type of person who would give me that good advice. So I feel like some of the gossip is like people being surprised that your intelligence comes out when really they kind of see you as this kind of like playboy kind of, you know, like sex object type of person, you know? So they're kind of surprised when you like analyze something or your intelligence comes out or something like that. There's something about like gossip coming in that way, like pleasantly surprised gossip. Some of the more negative gossip with the King of Swords here is people might think that you bend the truth a little bit, that you don't tell exactly what is the truth of a situation. And that's kind of at a kind of conflicting odds with this Queen of Cups card. So one of the things that I'm kind of weighing with these is it's like people might say that like you bend the truth or you're too nice or you don't say what's on your mind, or there's something along the lines of like bending the truth to make everybody happy. So I'm definitely seeing people are like, oh, they don't really, okay, you can't like trust what they said. Like sometimes they just say things that's not really, you know, a fact, or that's not really a factual thing. Like they're just kind of talking and saying things, you know, so you can't really take them seriously. So people kind of say that about you. But with this Queen of Cups, it's interesting because your insight and your ability to analyze and your ability to kind of have a mastery in a sense over your emotions, like those are positive qualities that they see and say about you. So I definitely see that like with the Queen of Cups kind of being this kind of counselor type card, it's one of those things where it's like, oh wow, they gave me really good advice yesterday, and like I was really surprised, and someone's like, oh, interesting, huh? And then that's like that's basically the end of the conversation, and then it goes off from there. I think that's about it. Let me see if I see anything else. One thing with the cheetah here and the tears of the cheetah, I definitely see that some people might say behind your back that they think you're a little, not sad, like sad as a person, but like sad, emotionally sad. Like they see you as someone who's kind of like, you know, that may have been through a lot, and they might say that behind your back. Like, you know, did so-and-so go through something, or they seemed a little upset today. Are they okay? So you might have somewhat of a moody temperament in a sense where people are kind of confused, like, like, are they okay? Like, they seemed a little off today or something like that, you know? But it's interesting. It's one of those things where it's like basically just like your emotions. It's not having to do with your energy. I'm definitely seeing so far with the cheetah card that people are definitely, the one first impression people get from you is energy or energetic. So that's one thing that like, if you're like, I'm a what's it called? A sloth. I'm a sloth. This is probably not your pile, because this person or you watching this, group one, you guys are very energetic, and people notice that about you and they'll talk about it behind your back, basically. If you guys didn't know this before, you have a lot of people who would like to hook up with you. So if you are in the market, you probably have a lot of options, is what I'm seeing with this Passion card and with this Three of Cups. Probably people that you wouldn't expect would be in the market to, you know, get busy with you or something. Yeah, anyway, so I'm not going to go too deep into that. It's not an 18 plus reading. So let's end the reading there. I really enjoyed reading for you guys today. Thank you for watching. And if you really enjoyed this reading, please subscribe to my channel. If you like the reading, please like or comment too. It would mean a lot. And we're going to move on now to group 2 with the Spirit Quartz. Thank you guys again for watching. Hey, group 2, this is if you picked the Spirit Quartz. We're going to get into what's the gossip about you in just a little bit. I got to shuffle the cards first, so I'm just going to walk you through that and tell you what cards I'm shuffling and so you guys know what decks I'm using and stuff. This is the Oracle of the 7 Energies, so I'm pulling a card from here. Let's see, we need a card for what's the gossip about group 2. Oh, this one wants to come out. Spirit of Gratitude. Oh, and the colors are very similar to the Spirit Quartz. And we're going to pull two other Oracle cards. We're going to pull an Animal Oracle card and a Love Story Oracle card. And we have Golden Egg. And I'm going to also pull a Love Story Oracle card. We have 2 that came out. We have Fun and Spark. And then I'm going to try and draw about like 5 tarot cards. So, see what comes up. Hope you all are doing well. Actually, it's really hot in my house. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. I'm going to turn on my air conditioner. Okay, I'm back. The one thing I get doing these readings is like hot sometimes. Like my body temperature rises. I don't know if other readers have that, or if you guys are tarot readers and you're watching my channel, let me know if your body temperature rises when you do readings, because sometimes I'll feel like kind of heated. Okay, let's see. Let's draw. I'm feeling 3 and 2 split, so. Let's see what tarot cards you got. We have King of Cups, 5 of Cups, 4 of Pentacles, the Emperor, and Death. This means probably spread these out a little bit more. And I'm gonna move this right here just to give us more of a aesthetically pleasing look. Okay, I think I got most of this. With this reading in particular, I'm trying to kind of just look at the cards just a little bit and then get into the reading and just kind of spitball from there. So, okay, so first of all, I want to point out with the Golden Egg and the King of Cups, something that's really wonderful that people say about you behind your back is how much of a good person you are. So specifically with the King of Cups and the Golden Egg, people really recognize that your heart is your compass. The fact that they believe and they say and they talk about you this way. They say like, wow, they really follow their heart, or they really have a strong sense of values. They're really centered, right? They're a really centered person, and they have this centered feeling about them where, you know, especially with Golden Egg, I'm also thinking of like abundance and stuff. So people might say behind your back that they think you're going to be successful or something along those lines. Or that you're going to have a lot of money, that you're going to have a lot of wealth. We see this again here with the 4 of Pentacles, that people might think that they might say like, oh, that person's definitely has a lot of wealth because look how much they protect their resources. Like they definitely protect those resources. And with the Golden Egg, I'm seeing this guy, he's covering his heart chakra, and we also have the King of Cups, and the Golden Egg is representative of the heart chakra. So people really see you have a good heart. That's one thing people say behind your back all the time is, wow, so-and-so or Group 2 has a good heart. They have such a good soul. They have such a good heart. They're such a good person. People really believe that you are a good person. So, yeah, that's really amazing for you guys. And with King of Cups, people see you as very balanced. They see you as very calm, and they kind of see you the calm center of the storm, like the calm center in the storm, basically. They'll always say like, man, that situation was so crazy, but did you see how group 2 was so calm during it? And they'll be like, oh yeah, I noticed that. Like, what's up with that? Like, I thought they would freak out or something. They're like, no, like they're always calm like that when stuff like that happens. They're always like really chill and vibey in those situations, you know? So I definitely think that something else that people could say about you is something about how comfortable you seem. But mainly I'm just seeing how centered you are and how you're able to handle emergency situations. I definitely see here with the Emperor, you have kind of an authoritative sense to you. I definitely see that you might be a more organized person, and so people might comment on your organizational ability or how organized you are on a day-to-day basis. And then here's something that's coming through, because this is a little bit of a polarity. We have Spirit of Gratitude and the Five of Cups, which are kind of opposites in a sense. And so this is one of the things that you guys probably know watching this, that you have in your repertoire of your personality, because I'm definitely seeing like one thing here is like, on one hand, you have these moods, right? Where you're super grateful for everything. Everything's so beautiful and wonderful and gorgeous, and you're on top of the world, right? And then on the other side, you have these moods where you're like down in the dumps. You're kind of pessimistic. You're kind of seeing the glass is half empty. You're kind of viewing things as like, wow, I've lost so much, or I have this kind of emptiness about me or something like that. I definitely see you have this kind of switch off, kind of switch hitter vibe for those two poles of that polarity, right? And so one thing that people kind of don't realize about you, and this goes along with the Death card too, is that you kind of go through a lot of transformations and changes in your life, or on kind of like a very spiritual level. And so it's kind of like this give and take process that you have, where you have to go into these dark moods, because it's really the dark moods that make you come out on the other side with that new hope and optimism and that spirit of gratitude. So if people see you as a very grateful person, they might be shocked if you show them this kind of negative side of yourself, or vice versa. If they see you all the time as this kind of negative person, and then all of a sudden you have kind of like a really positive mindset, or a mindset of gratitude all of a sudden, it's like whatever stream that you're in, when you show the other side, people are confused, or people who are confused, they might gossip about that to their friends. Like, man, I always just expected this person to be so kind of like negative, and then all of a sudden today they were like bright, cheery, and optimistic. Like, where's my friend I can like bitch about things to, or like, where's my friend where we can be like negative together? I want to like have my friend where I can like be in a dark mood or talk about dark subjects or something like that, and then one day you're just like happy, light, and fluffy. So it's like people are like maybe complain about that, or they complain if you're always happy, light, and fluffy. If you show a dark mood, they'll be like, man, why were they so negative? Why were they so pessimistic? Like, that's not like them. So something that's kind of gossipy about them is those polarities, those extremes. People kind of talk about you in that way, about those things. I think I mentioned with the Four of Pentacles, they might mention, they might gossip about how thrifty you are, or how much you, not even just thrifty with like money, but how you conserve your resources, right? Something about how like conservative you are when it comes to like materials, or even your values. With the heart chakra, I'm seeing that you hold your values close to your heart, and you have like a very almost conservative sense of like, or this is what people say about you anyways, that you have kind of a conservative sense of values. That, some people might say that like, in a weird way, some people might say that they want you to be less ethical, or they kind of are like, man, they're always a good person. Can't they just break the rules with us every once in a while? Like, why do they always have to be so like such a rule follower? I'm definitely seeing that again with the Emperor, with that rules, that kind of ability to have that authority over others and kind of follow the rules pretty easily, or have that organizational ability. The other thing too is, what's interesting is people, when they first meet you with the Spark card, when they first meet you, right, it's like they're ignited, and they might talk a lot about you behind your back when you meet new people, because they're really excited they met you, right? I think it's rare that you meet someone who has such a good heart And so the first thing they're going to say is like, wow, this person was so nice to me, or this person's so amazing, or something like that. I definitely think that whatever their perceptions of you of are at the time of any of these various different perceptions, or whatever image you present to people on a first impression basis, that's the one that gets people talking about you, basically, is that first impression. I'm also seeing the fun card tied in here, that you might give off a fun type of fun vibe as a first impression. Or you have kind of like a fun, almost like light-hearted personality. Another thing too, interestingly enough, people might call you an airhead with this hot air balloon here. They might say like, whoa, they're a little spacey, aren't they? And people are like, yeah, they're definitely a dreamer. You know, they'll kind of say stuff about you like that. And with the death card, this is the most important thing, because this is something that only the people who are closest to you are going to gossip about you to other people. And I definitely see this as a way that you're kind of like being defended in regard to this dichotomy, this polarity, because people realize, it's interesting, you might be in a spirit of gratitude for a very long period, and then for the pessimistic side, you might be in a pessimistic mode for like a very long period. So people get used to seeing one or the other, or maybe you only show one area in a specific area of your life, and then another area you show the other. But basically, the people who are closest to you know that you have this scorpionic transformative energy about you, that you have this death card where you basically go through these identity shifts and identity changes in yourself. And so one thing that people might gossip about you is if you go through an identity change, they might say like, man, they just changed their whole look, or they changed their whole vibe. I don't even feel like they're my friend anymore. Like they're so totally different now, or something like that. There's kind of gossip about that. And then I can definitely see that people who are close to you might tell that person like, you know, that's the thing. They've been like that their whole life. And they go through these changes, and the people who are loyal to them stick with them through the changes. So if you're not ready to handle that, then maybe you shouldn't be their friend. You know, it's like people really defend you in this regard. You know, I feel like when people gossip about other people, usually someone stands up for you. Or in some cases, someone will stand up for you. And so I'm kind of seeing that over here with the death card over here. I'm also seeing it's interesting because both of the situations where someone stood up for someone, especially in group 1, 2, there was a white horse, a white knight basically. And so I'm definitely seeing that you guys have kind of like these white knights that kind of protect you when people talk about you or gossip about you. So that's something that you can, you know, feel comfort in, I guess, is the fact that some people really can't get a word in and gossip wise, because someone else will shut them down and basically be like, you know, they're like this, like they go through periods, they go through moods, or they go through shifts in their perspective, like that's just who they are. And you know, if you don't, you know, can't stand that, they might defend you in another way that I'm not picking up on also, but it's mainly about those shifts in mood. I definitely see that's the thing that shocks people the most, and it can be a little jolting, I think, when people see this kind of really kind-hearted, nice side of you, and then all of a sudden you say something really pessimistic or negative. I think it can offend some people, and so that's why they would gossip about you, basically. Or if people are used to having that friend that they can be negative with, and then all of a sudden you go into a different direction, you're like, I want to be positive, you know, then people are kind of like, they're like, oh, where's my friend that I could like, you know, bitch with? Like, I can't like talk shit with this person anymore, you know? So that's what I'm seeing for you guys who chose group 2. Let me see if I see anything else. If you're a boss or a manager, people really look up to you for your ability to manage effectively and kindly, right? And also something else is like in emergency situations, people might say like, wow, they handled that emergency really well. Like this was all chaos and they really just got in there and did the job and got it done, you know? So that's something else that's coming through. If you guys enjoyed this reading, feel free to like or comment below. If you really enjoyed this reading, feel free to subscribe to my channel. We're always welcoming new subscribers here at Cody Tarot. And with that said, I'm going to move on to group 3. Thank you for letting me read for you. It was a pleasure, and I will see you guys in the next pick a card. Hey, group 3. This is if you picked the desert glass. So this is really cool. My sister got me this piece of glass, and I really like it. Let's see. We got to draw a card. So we're going to draw a Oracle of the 7 Energies card. Okay, we have the power of purpose. Then we're gonna also draw a animal oracle card. Oh, this peacock one wants to come out. We had the whole deck flip up, so there is kind of like a chaotic energy. So I feel maybe if people are gossiping about you, they might be doing it in a chaotic mood, or they might only do it in a chaotic mood. But let's see what else is coming through, and then we'll get into the reading. Okay, we have differences. Interesting. Okay, so we're going to draw about 5 tarot cards. Hopefully, we'll see what comes out. Okay, let's flip over your tarot cards. We have Judgment. We have the 8 of Pentacles. We have the Queen of Wands. We have the 7 of Swords. And we have the Hangman. Okay, let me get into what I am seeing for you guys. We have some interesting stuff here. So there are some kind of methods in life. If you want people to stop gossiping about you, there are some methods you can do that to get them to stop talking about you, basically. And it's interesting how that works. We kind of have it here in this kind of like triangle on the outside cards. You know, the top one card here and the outside cards is kind of like ways where people will kind of stop gossiping about you. It's interesting that's coming through in this reading. It's like a protection kind of message. But let me get into what people are saying. So let's start with your personality over here with the peacock. The first thing people notice about you is a first impression. First of all is how beautiful you are, and also how hypnotizing you are. There's something about, they feel like they've been put under a spell. And so they might talk to their friends like, have you noticed so-and-so is like so magical? And there's also something about the eyes, right? The eyes, and like feel like this person's watching, you know, this peacock's watching. And so there's something along people talking about like, you know, they might actually say about you that like, does group 3 like stare at you often? Because they have like, I think they have like a staring problem. Like they stare all the time and they're constantly staring at me. I feel like you don't get this comment that often, because honestly, I feel like you're so attractive that when people like, it's like one of those things where it's like, people don't look at it as a negative thing. It's kind of like, they might tell their friends like, oh, so-and-so or group 3 was staring at me. Are they into me? You know, it's because you have this attractive appearance that like when you stare at people, it's like people think like, oh, maybe they're into me. Like, oh, this is cool. Like I'm getting attention. Like they think they're getting hit on by someone because the way, the effect that you have when you look at them. I definitely see with like all these eyes too, it's like, you might have a ability to kind of see everything that's going on in your environment. So this person, people might actually point out that like, whoa, group 3 is very observant. Like group 3 saw that and I didn't even see that. Like that's something that I would never have picked up on, you know? Group 3 noticed this. Oh, I wouldn't have noticed that, you know? Specifically small details in your environment, like noticing kind of like the color of a bird, like, you know, a block away from you in a tree or something like that. You guys might actually have good eyesight or good vision, or just have a really good ability to notice the little distinct differences in visual things around you. I'm seeing one other thing that people talk about you is that of your dedication. They gossip about you about your dedication, like, whoa, aren't they dedicated? Like they've been doing this for like forever. And like, they don't get sick of it. They just do the same thing again and again and again. They really dedicated. They really have commitment to their tasks at hand, you know? Some of you might be like an artist or a craftsperson who just lives for their work, they just die for like creating their product, or some of you might actually have this ability to kind of get through school in a really deep methodical fashion. But whoever sees you work sees that you're really dedicated to your career, your path, or your job, or your craft, basically. This can be something more of like a craft type thing, like education or like school or art or something like that. Or if you work in a particular office, you just go in every day, you clock in, you don't complain, you do the thing that you do, and people admire you, especially work employers and stuff. They admire your dedication. They see that you're very, very dedicated. Interestingly enough, with the Queen of Wands card, people might be they might see you when you're being introverted, they might see you as a little mysterious. And then when you're being extroverted, they might see you as like a ball of sunshine or a ball of fun. So something that people might kind of talk about a little bit is those shifts in mood. That's kind of similar to group 2. Group 2 had some shifts in mood too. So people might say like, whoa, they were like really cheery that day. And like today they're just like, depressed or coy or not really saying much, or they're kind of being secretive, And so that's another thing right here with the 7 of Swords here, is people might see you as being like secretive or deceitful. Like people might honestly think you're straight up lying to them and might tell their friends like, so-and-so lied to me. And people be like, if people, I don't see too many people coming to your defense if people talk about you. But there are things that are mentioned here. Like I mentioned there at the beginning of the reading, there's that message of protection, where this message of protection will defend you in the case of people gossiping about you, right? And it's all the power of purpose, judgment, and the Hanged Man. I see that on one hand, you have the ability to kind of shock people with a different perspective. Like you have the ability to say something to them that kind of gets them to think differently about life. And sometimes I'm seeing that a lot of people, because these two are coming out so closely together, it's like the people who hear you share these perspectives, they might mistake that perspective you're sharing for a lie, and then tell people like, oh, they're deceiving people, or they're lying, or they're spreading they're not spreading the right information or something, or they're kind of talking they might accuse you of kind of talking behind other people's backs too, or something like that. But with the Hangman here, if you get one of these little perspective shifts and you share it with the right person, I feel like that's where you build up that loyalty. I don't see these people who get this perspective shift as kind of defending you, but I definitely see that they kind of in a way defend you because they kind of get this aura about them. Like here, this is kind of hard to explain, but I'm going to try. So basically, with the people that you shift their perspective, right, they kind of get this hanging upside down effect that this hangman has, right? And the thing about the hangman's mind is it is protected by this aura. So people might not actually defend you from gossip, but if anyone gossips to one of these people that has heard your ability to shift perspectives, they know where this is coming from. And so those people will be like, yeah, they said that. That makes sense because this and this and this. And people, it might infuriate these people who thought that you were lying, basically, because they're like, whoa, what is this person believed them, or this person got value from that comment that they made. And I definitely see this as more of like an intellectual kind of thing. With the swords here, I definitely see you have this ability to kind of shift perspectives in your environment. And so people who are aware of this and can feel it, they kind of get their perspective shifted, and you kind of have this way of enlightening others. So something that's positive that people say about you is people say that like, wow, they really showed me a different way of looking at things. And that's really like one of the things that I really value, like they totally shifted my perspective like permanently, basically. Another thing too, with the power of purpose and judgment, I'm seeing that one of the things that is something that, how do I put this? Gets you a lot of praise from people, like positive gossip, is when you have a purpose and a mission for something. Basically, when you are filled with a sense of purpose, and with the judgment card representing kind of like it means that your judgment is impeccable when you're filled with a sense of purpose. When you have a mission in life and you have something to strive for, something to work for, something that you are dedicated to, especially with this dedication here, a lot of the gossip just falls by the wayside. With this differences card, it's like the people who gossip about you just kind of ignore you, because when you're filled with purpose, it's a sense of protection. It's almost like a protection spell. When you have purpose, it's like people can't touch you. And that's kind of something that I'm seeing that like pretty clearly with these kind of things. And the perspective shifts are kind of similar. It's like you give other people this protection, you know? So something that's interesting about you, with especially with the cat and this mysterious and kind of the Queen of Wands, I'm seeing a little bit of the occult here, especially with the eyes and the peacock. I feel like maybe you have this ability to protect yourself and others through the power of purpose and feeling a sense of purpose in your own life. So you might have this ability to kind of protect those around you, which is really, really cool. And a lot of people might not notice this, but they definitely won't gossip about you when you're in this state of mind, right? Especially with the Judgment card, I feel like a lot of people who would gossip about you actually would more often respect you. Now, it's interesting because on the flip side, when you lose a sense of purpose and you don't have a mission or something to go forward, and maybe you feel like you're not having that trumpet call to action like in the Judgment card, that's where differences can get on people's nerves, basically, the differences between you and them. I think one thing, interestingly enough, very different from group 2, is that this group, the first impression, you know, is very much of differences, right? I feel like people would gossip about you based on a first impression, and it wouldn't be good gossip. Basically, it's something that they would have to kind of know you, or if they saw you from across the room staring at them or something, they might have good gossip, like, I think they're into me or something like that. Or if they work with you, they would have good gossip about you. But I think one of these things, when people first meet you, and especially with the communication of this Swords card, if they felt like you were being dishonest upon first meeting, they might actually think you're a little dishonest on first meeting. They might say that to people like, oh, this person seems a little shady or something. And so I'm definitely saying that the closer you get with people, and specifically, this is just coming through really strongly, this protection thing, with the power of purpose, when you have purpose, when you have a mission, when you're on a mission to do something, when you have that feeling of, you know, with the Judgment card, it's like when you feel awakened or a call, like you feel that call summoning you and you follow through with it, you know, that power of purpose and with that dedication you have, I feel like it protects you from a lot. So for this group especially, I would really recommend kind of finding what lights you up. What is something that is your purpose in this life? You know, you might want to watch some picket cards on like, what's my purpose, or what's my, you know, I think Kino has a reading where it's like, Kino Tarot has a reading where it's like, what is my soul calling me to do, or something like that. Finding readings like that where it's like you're following your purpose or you're finding your purpose are going to be really beneficial in protecting you from this negative gossip. Yeah, it's funny because I see when you're in a positive mood, people love your fun-loving energy. They love your bright, kind of shiny appearance, like is coming through, and they even kind of like your mystery a little bit. These people who get their perspective shifted, because all of this is kind of one of those kind of things. It's like with the Queen of Wands being in the middle, it's like the sunshiny sides is in your work ethic and your ability to have good judgment. And then on the flip side, it's like the mystery comes from your ability to kind of use this kind of colorful language, you know, that some people view as lying and other people view as enlightening, you know. So it's one of those things where it's like you do enlighten people by shifting their perspective, you know, especially if someone's already fertile ground, if they've already been meditating or taking a time out from life or kind of pausing to think about things. You have this way of igniting in them that same power of purpose that you have, basically, and getting them on board with you. This is the group that, like, with the Judgment card here, you could be summoning, like, you could summon an army to come to work for you or to your defenses or something like that. Like, you could really cause chain reactions in society to get people to think differently or do different things, or really cause those chain reactions to get people to kind of, how do I put this? You could really change the world, or groups of people, I guess is the best way to put it. This group, probably you might be a good public speaker, or you might have just a way with words. I'm seeing that again here with the Seven of Swords. You know, it's just that some people might view that way of words with, some people might view that way of words as you guys lying or deceiving them or something like that. So, yeah. But man, that power of purpose. You guys have a trump card. You have a way to protect yourself from gossip that you really don't need anyone else to protect you. It's like you have that protection yourself, which is really, really cool. So that's all I'm seeing for you guys for this reading. If you like this reading, please like or comment below. If you really enjoyed this reading, feel free to subscribe to my channel. We're always welcoming new subscribers here at Cody Tarot. With that said, I'm going to move on to group 4 with the clear quartz. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Hey group 4, this is if you picked the clear quartz. So let's get into your reading. So first I'm going to draw a chakra Oracle of the 7 Energies. This is my chakra deck because it's based on the chakras. So maybe that's important for you guys in this reading. So let's see. I'm going to draw a card for what does group 4, what are the people gossiping about them saying? Let's draw for you guys. Our card that we have is in perfect harmony. Wow. And then we have a animal oracle card that we're drawing for you guys. What is, oh, and we have fish. Then I want to get a love story oracle card for you guys. Hope you guys are well. Thank you for coming to my reading today. Okay, we have romance and heartbreak. Interesting. And let's see. We have some tarot cards to pull. Sorry, that's my air that just turned on. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's getting pretty hot in my house. It is summer still, so just have that on in the background, so apologize if you can hear that. And we will draw 2 there, and 2 there, and last one from there. Okay. Okay, I'll move this here for this pile. Okay, so let's flip over your tarot cards and see what you got. We have the 8 of Swords upright. We have the Hierophant upright. We have the Queen of Pentacles upright. We have the 2 of Pentacles upright. And we also have the 4 of Cups upright. Well, they're all, I'm not taking reversal, so yeah, they're all upright, but let me get in, let's look at this over. Let's look this over. Okay, let's get into your reading. I think I got most of this down. Let's see, so there are a few things coming through. So let's start off with your fish card that you're representing your personality. So this is a water card. So one thing that people might talk about you is that you're pretty intuitive, that you have good insight, that you actually have this ability to kind of slip out of situations that aren't working for you. Basically with what we're seeing here with the fish. And it's aided all by your intuition. We see this moon card in the fish as well, this red moon. And so it's kind of based, your intuition is based in this idea of survival instinct. And so one thing that I'm seeing that people talk about you is basically like, wow, they got out of that situation pretty easily, didn't they? Or without a scratch or something like that. People might think that the thing is, people also realize that you have the ability to move on to new ventures or to move on from things and kind of have a fresh start, essentially. That's one thing that people see, and they see that is because of your intuition, that your intuition gives you the ability to have this fresh start because you have this ability to kind of see your way out of tricky situations, you know, so you can kind of get into a different situation because you escaped the thing that was your would-be captor. You know, I'm thinking of like a fish who's, you know, on a hook and the person throws the fish back in the water, or the fish that you're trying to hold on to and it's slippery and it slides out of your hands. You know, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting for this group. And it's all aided by their intuition. Another thing that's interesting about their intuition, and the intuition's coming through really strongly with this group. So this is probably one of my piles who you guys probably really resonate as being an intuitive person. So that's something that you might actually identify yourself as something that you've probably always been. You've probably always had this intuition or something like that. Another thing too with the Hierophant here, I see that you guys, one thing that's interesting is this is coming through as a matchmaker card. I'm definitely seeing that people say you have the ability to matchmake with people. So something that people gossip about you in a certain way is kind of like, you know, so-and-so introduced me to this person and I really get along with this person and this person and me like click really, really well. And it's interesting, how do they know that? Or how do they, it's coming, because it's right above the intuition card. It kind of seems like magic that you can do these things, you know? It's like people can't really understand how you do these things or how you, but it's through the sense of organizing people and putting certain people together or separating other people, or you kind of know who to invite to what party and kind of, you know how to manage your social circle. Basically is what I'm seeing here with the Hierophant. We also see that again here with imperfect harmony. Something that people say about you is that you have this way of keeping the peace in your environment, right? With Queen of Pentacles here as well, people see you as a very caring person. That's one of the things they say about you is, wow, this Group 4 is so caring. They're so considerate. They really take the time to like listen to you and hear you out and hear what you're feeling and just be there for you and be that kind of empathetic ear to listen on. And for somehow people are like, in perfect harmony, it's kind of representative of you're kind of this person gossip wise that people kind of just love you. They kind of, when they talk about you behind your back, they're like, wow, this person has such a lovely nature to them. They're so, how do I put it? What are they saying? It's like, they're so peaceful, right? And they're whenever they come in the room, it's like everyone stops fighting. Like, you know, they're kind of notice that you kind of create this vibe around you that's kind of this harmonious kind of vibe where people kind of can be at peace with themselves. Now, it's interesting because I definitely see that there's other things involved with you, like different components of your personality that people are also gossiping about. So one thing right here with the 8 of Swords here is people might gossip a little bit about your victim mindset. They might say that you have this way of making yourself the victim. And it might be one of those things where people might think you don't have it that hard or you don't have such a hard life. And so they're like, why are they complaining? Or they complain about the dumbest things. People might even joke about this actually, because I'm getting more of a humorous vibe about this. You know, people might say like, you know, like, oh my gosh, they complained the other day that, you know, their cup was blue when I gave them a red cup. You know, it's like they you know, it's like things that are kind of like insignificant. I mean, I don't know, maybe, you know, it's really important to have that blue cup or that red cup, you know, but it's kind of like you guys have this victim mindset with little small insignificant things. And so people kind of joke around about that. Like, oh my gosh, they complained about this, you know, and it causes like, it's a little bit of humor. Like it's kind of like that gossip that provides a little bit of humor to other people. So you can definitely think of people as like joking around about this piece of information. But yeah, people see that you have a little bit of a victim mindset, like a woe is me kind of thing. The other thing too is that people are curious about and people gossip about you is people think you are well off. People think you have money. People think you are, you're just affluent. With the Queen of Pentacles and the Two of Pentacles and the infinity sign between the pentacles, I'm seeing this as kind of like never-ending abundance or like a self-generating system of abundance. And so people just think that you're never gonna have, and this is the thing, is like you might be watching this pile and you might be thinking like, well, there's times where I don't have money and I could use some help or something like that, but people will not perceive that of you. People gossip at you all the time like, man, they just have a lot of money, don't they? Or they kind of are always rolling in the dough, or they're kind of really successful. I definitely see that people think you're successful. People think that you kind of just have money fall into your lap, or you have the ability to make it really easily or something like that, make money really easily. Something other people could gossip about you, specific people, I'm not seeing too many people saying this, but some people in particular might gossip that you're a little lazy or that you don't want to do new experiences. You know, this could be other people maybe. Like it's interesting because you're more of a matchmaker, harmonious person, but you might deal with someone else who's kind of trying to introduce you to a new experience or play matchmaker in your life, and you're kind of like, you know what, I'm going to turn them down because honestly, I'm not in the mood for that, or I'm too tired to do that, or something like that. So people really, they're kind of, one of the things that they say is like, man, I can't believe they're why are they, like, they're too tired to do that? Like, I just wanted to do this. Like, it's not that much energy. It doesn't require that much energy. And they might say like, you know, this person is kind of lazy, or they might say something about you like that. The last thing I want to get into with the romance and the heartbreak card is people see you as a heartbreaker, but they also see you as someone who's very romantic. This is something that partners have said about you. And these cards don't want to stay stable. They're kind of moving around a lot. So I think you kind of leave romantic partners with a little bit of an unsettled feeling. I feel like you kind of sweep people off their feet. And then with the heartbreak card, it's kind of like you've broken a lot of hearts in the past, because I feel like people really appreciate that romantic side of you. And I think it's interesting because people might be like, oh man, that was a great relationship, because they might say like, that was a great relationship. They really were so romantic and so sweet, and man, it was so wonderful being with them. It was like a dream. And then they were like, but then when it ended, I was devastated. And, you know, I just felt so heartbroken. You know, I feel like, you know, some people might have even felt betrayed by you or something like that. It's something that's very, and then my air conditioner just goes off. It's something that's like, it's interesting. The heartbreak is in due proportion to the romance. So it's like the more romantic you got with a partner, it's like the more the heartbreak hurt them when you left. So you're really, I feel like people say, or what they talk about you is that you're in these all or nothing relationships, right? Where you're kind of like giving yourself very fully to your partner, but then you might remove yourself very fully at the same time. And so the other person is kind of like left to kind of cope. And so one thing people might gossip about you is the fact that you're, you know, such a heartbreaker, you know. And it's funny, your friends might know this about you. And so your friends might be doing most of this gossip to like new prospective people that are coming into your life. Like, you know, be careful because my friend is a heartbreaker. Like, you know, they'll wine and dine you and then they'll leave you, you know, something like that. Or people will mention that about you. There's something along, and these cards don't want to sit still. So there's something about, it's interesting. I'm thinking because they don't want to sit still. It's one of those things where I feel like you give a lot of energy to people, or you put a lot of your effort into relationships, and they put a lot of effort back into you as a partner because you give a lot of effort. And I'm seeing that when those relationships, and you may not have had that many of them, and you might not be like a total player or anything like that, but now they're kind of calming down. The cards are calming down. But I feel like you give that kind of full energy into relationships. So I feel like something that people say about you is they really gave themselves fully to me. They were fully emotionally available. It just hurt like hell when they left, or when we had to split up. It was a painful breakup, you know, because we were so invested in each other, you know. This may in some cases be like codependent relationships for some of you, but for most of you, I don't really seeing that. I'm just seeing that you give your all to your partner. You invest fully, you fully commit. And so people really say that when they're out of the relationship with you, they go, you know, at least they fully committed to me. You know, it hurt, you know, it hurt more, but at least it was a full commitment. So that's something that people say about you. That's going to wrap up the reading, actually. So if you like that reading, please like or comment below. If you really enjoyed this reading, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I post pick a cards like this once every 1 to 2 weeks. With that said, we're going to move on to the very last group, the Elestial Smokey Quartz, group 5. Thank you guys again for watching. Hey, group 5. Okay, so you guys picked the Smokey Elestial Quartz. Oh, I'm going to hit you in the head with that. No, you're protected. There is a wall. There's a screen here, and you won't get hit with this crystal. I'm feeling a little goofy with this pile for some reason. So I'm going to draw the cards, and we will see what comes up for you guys. We have a merry motive. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, the other groups didn't get this kind of like cheerful vibe. I'm feeling like just very buoyant and optimistic or cheerful or something like that around you guys. So maybe that's just the effect you guys have on people, or maybe that's kind of like, let's see what else we got here. We got dolphin. Okay, wow. Yeah, this is like a very positive kind of person that I'm dealing with, group 5. You're very positive. I think, you know, let's see what else comes out. We have freedom. Wow. Okay. So we're going to draw some tarot cards. We're going to draw 5 tarot cards, and then we'll get right into the reading. That's a good group to end with. This is like fun. Fun vibes. Let's see what people say about you, group 5. I just felt like drawing the last 2 cards from the bottom of the deck. So maybe you guys are very like happy, merry people, or you have that effect on people, but you're also very deep. So let's flip over your tarot cards and see what you got. We have the 5 of Pentacles. We have the Magician. We have the Page of Wands. We have the 6 of Wands. Wow. And we have the Justice card. What a cool person. Oh my gosh, group 5, be my friend. Okay, so, oh my gosh, I'm so happy to read for this person because, wow, you guys are on my channel. It's so cool. I feel like I would get along with you, group 5. But let me get into your reading. So first of all, with dolphin and a merry motive, first impression people see of you, first of all, people see you as very intuitive. We have a water creature here. We also have dolphin, which is a very playful creature, a very playful animal. So one thing that I'm seeing, oh, this is coming through interestingly enough too. With dolphin here, I think people gossip about you. One thing they say is that you have good skin. That's something that's coming through for a lot of you, is that you have good skin, or people really like your skin, or something about your skin is glowing or something like that. But just in general with dolphin, people see you as a very playful person. They see you as very like lighthearted, joyful, fun energy. Like, I definitely think people might see you as a little flirty, but more than flirty, they see you as playful. They see you as fun. They see you as kind of that fun, like life of the party, like really lighthearted, kind of like carefree type of vibe, you know. And it's interesting because dolphins are also very intelligent. So I also see them seeing you as kind of intelligent. Like, so it's something about like you have this kind of light, playful vibe where you, with a very like intelligent nature backing it. So you might have a way of sharing like smart comments or basically like the way you talk, and it could be in a subtle way. It kind of tips people off to your intellect, where you maybe have this kind of casual, playful nature on the surface, and people definitely notice this. So things they would say about you is like, man, they're so playful, they're so fun-loving. Like, I just feel so happy around them. Like, I feel so optimistic around them. They're such a ball of joy, you know? I definitely think people have a really good time around you because you have just such an infectious, fun energy. With a merry motive, this is really interesting too, because I think people realize you're the life of the party. I think people realize you're the center of attention, and you're the one that kind of gets everyone happy and having fun. I feel like if someone's gonna make the hilarious joke in the room, you're the one who makes that hilarious joke. We also have stars hanging on a clothesline. And so I'm definitely seeing that like you have this ability to kind of connect with people that are super high up in society. So people who kind of like point this out, well, it's more like people perceive this in you. So you might not see yourself as someone who can connect with high people in society, but people are like, wow, they're going to have the top, highest society type of friends. Like, they're going to be with stars. They're going to be with celebrities. People talk about you being with like really famous people, or they think you are a famous person, something along those lines. With Page of Wands here, it's interesting. People think you have really good style, like really good fashion sense, and you have the ability to kind of assess the fashion sense of others. You have this kind of way of making people feel good about their potential. You know, people might come away from talking to you being like, oh my gosh, so-and-so complimented, or group 5 complimented my dress. Like, I definitely like gonna buy another one of these in the future. You know, you have your opinion carries weight, basically. I see that the one negative comment that people might make about you is with this freedom card. People might think you need your freedom too frequently. They might think that like, that you can't commit, or that you have this ability to like leave or fly away when the going gets tough or something like that. I'm definitely seeing that with the freedom card, just some people might view you and gossip about you in the sense of like, man, they can't commit. But the thing is, it goes in the other way too with the freedom card, where people see you as very freedom loving and freedom focused. And a lot of people like that, especially people who are also freedom loving and freedom focused. It's interesting because you're coming off is kind of this watery, airy kind of personality. Let's see what else. I'm going to get away from the freedom thing for a while. I might circle back to it because I'm having trouble finding the words for what I was trying to say, but I might circle back to it. But let's get into the rest of the cards. One thing that I'm seeing here with the Five of Pentacles, it's interesting because you guys may not have come from a lot of wealth. You may have come from like the bottom of the totem pole as far as the wealth status goes, but it looks as if with this stars card, people have a lot of high expectations for you as far as like the people that you're meant to be with, you know, the people you're meant to hang out with or meant to talk to, you know. People feel really blessed when they're in your presence, mainly because of your fun vibe. With that Merry motive, you just have such a fun, infectious vibe about you. And I'm like definitely picking that up when I started this reading. I had to suppress it a little bit to just deliver the messages, because I think that I would, with this type of person or with you, I feel like, and people probably say this a lot, that you probably just have this kind of vibe of like, people don't feel that serious around you. You know, people don't feel like they want to be serious around you. They just enjoy the lighthearted atmosphere that you provide. Man, this is, I would like you as a friend, Group 5. Let me just say that. Okay, so, but with the Five of Pentacles, people see you, this kind of goes in line with the freedom. It's like, with the Five of Pentacles, people see you as kind of this rogue, vagabond, kind of bohemian type, basically. But more than that, they just see you as kind of like, one thing that's coming through, because I'm seeing this card with the church in the background and the people out here, people realize, and they say that you're not afraid to walk away from organizations or giant organizations. You're not afraid to go at it alone, and you're not afraid of poverty. You're not afraid of not having money. I definitely think that people love the fact that you have this kind of vibe about you, where if you don't have money, you're just like, I'll just live off the land. You know, you have this kind of carefree nature about you. And that's the thing, okay, that's the thing that's coming through, is some people might see you as a little irresponsible. That's the thing that's coming through. So some people, if they gossip about you, they might be like, oh my gosh, they're so fun. The thing is, you're so positive and fun. I don't really see a lot of people gossiping about you. I'm going to put it that way. When people gossip about you, it's oftentimes a lot of positive stuff. I'm seeing lots of positivity about what people say about you. It's kind of like all good things. But if there is anything that people could say about you, it might be a little bit of from someone who's a little more realistic. They might think like, you know, I don't think it's realistic that they can just live off the land. Like, I think that they're going to be broke one day, or I think that they're not going to have money one day. Or with the freedom card, it's like, I think they need to commit to someone because they're going to need to rely on that person's income. You know, it's like they have this kind of vibe. The people who do gossip negatively about you have this kind of thing about you. Now, it's interesting because other people who know you and are closer to you with the Magician card, they know you can manifest anything in your life. Like, you come across as a powerhouse spiritually to those around you, especially those people who are in your inner circle. I'm definitely seeing that the people who kind of have that viewpoint of you, that gossiping about you being irresponsible, don't know your full spiritual potential and don't know how good of a manifester you actually are. You truly have all the tools at your disposal to do anything you want in life. You just have to think of it and you can do it. You know, you just need the kind of like that initial spark, like with the Magician, and then you can kind of make it happen. And so people who are close to you kind of know this about you. The Six of Wands here is just indicating your popularity, and it's almost, I would say it's indicating accomplishment, but for me, I'm seeing it as more popularity. And we also have another White Knight here. And so far in this reading, if you've seen any of the other piles with one of the white horses, the White Knights in this reading in particular, for just some reason, are representative of people defending you against gossip, right? So I definitely think that there's a lot of people who maybe don't have to defend you against gossip, but really would go the extra mile, go the extra distance to defend you against people who are saying anything about you. It goes as far as, I feel, as some people that are like protective over you are just looking for a reason to defend you, right? So they might actually like, you know, look for people who don't like you and kind of try to convince them to like you. It's like you're creating your own little cult of like funness, which is kind of interesting. With the Justice card here, I'm definitely seeing that you do have a side of yourself that's very fair and balanced. And I definitely see that you do have a way of balancing the scales in your relationships with people. So you're really good at making sure that people get that kind of fair-minded attitude in all situations in life. And the beautiful thing about this is Justice also has the sword of truth. So I feel like you do this in a really truthful, straightforward way that does not cause a lot of consternation. Also with Justice here, you get a lot of good karma from helping these people and kind of building this kind of big happy family that you've got going on here. So I definitely see a lot of people say a lot of positive things about you. If you came to this reading just being like, what are they saying that's negative? I don't see a lot of people saying things that are negative. Just the one thing that I noticed was the 5 of Pentacles, right? And the Freedom card, people might see you as a little irresponsible. They might comment on that or something like that. Or might, some people might say like they need to come back down to reality. But the people who know you or know that you can just get whatever you need, like you have that ability, you have that spiritual powerhouse ability. So that's the end of the reading for today. Thank you, Group 5, for letting me read for you. If you like this reading, feel free to like or comment below. If you really enjoyed this reading and you like my energy, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I post pick a cards like this once every 1 to 2 weeks. With that said, that was the last group for today. So I really enjoyed reading for you guys, and I will see you in the next pick a card. Bye.